Oh, YouTube camera.
So how should I know the camera? Oh, okay, I see it.
Hi, this is Paula, Gloria, and we're streaming to you from Columbus Circle. And this is a really momentous occasion because I have with me a very active YouTube poster. How would you call yourself?
That's a good poster.
Yeah.
Uploader.
A lot of times the people that comment on YouTube, I really grumble because they're not really part of the YouTube community insofar as they don't really create any videos. So I would like to introduce 911Shaman as a very creative poster. So can you talk about how you came to all of this?
Well, actually, I came to this because of you, actually.
Well, you were at M&M before, I know.
Yeah, I was at M&M and I pretty much had given up on the public access TV kind of style of doing shows because I guess it's out of laziness or convenience. I find it easier.
Oh, can you hold this?
Yeah, I find it a lot easier to just upload from my computer. And I think if M&M had that capability, they would definitely have they would have a lot more people, don't you think?
When you say upload from your computer, do you mean like even in 2000 and whatever when you were working there, you felt that they weren't computer savvy? Because I think YouTube took a while to come along.
Yeah, I think well, M&M definitely took a while to upgrade their facility, but it was all new technology. So it's not, Google, YouTube, everybody was in the same boat, pretty much. And I hope this is okay. This is right.
Yeah.
So, discovering YouTube, I really was more interested in, I was uploading a lot of copyright stuff, a lot of crap, TV commercials, and then I realized I wasn't really doing anything with my time. And I was watching your show on M&M, and I had been watching for a while.
So you watched my evolution from kind of a little bit more dippy to getting into this intense 9/11.
Yeah, well, I immediately took to your show because I already liked the topics and the subject matters, and plus I knew a lot of the people that you were around, and like I would see you with Dean Lauren or with Harold Channer.
Oh, because you've seen them through the years, because you're an old New Yorker, as young as you are.
Right, because I used to. Right.
You're very precocious. How did you learn all these concepts?
Well, when I worked at M&M, I did everything, literally everything. I had to learn how to all the codes to all the people's shows, and getting into. Each producer at M&M is very unique. They all have their own problems, their own unique problems. And I was sort of like Lucy from Charlie Brown. The psychiatrist was in, because I used to sit at the little window, and I would just give advice to public access producers. And I loved it. I had a great time at M&M. It's just politically speaking, I began to speak out against things that I found were violating my rights working for the company.
Now, there's one fellow that says he calls himself 9/11 dropped the ball on, no, M&M dropped the ball. Is that you?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am 9/11. I'm M&M dropped the ball on 9/11.
Oh, so you're not only 911Shaman, you're that. So you're very creative with the handle.
Yeah, well, I have footage that I'm going to upload on that channel of M&M harassing me on 9/11, trying to shut.
You got footage of that?
Yeah, they wanted me to shut their channels off.
Wow.
They wanted to just run like the little TV guide thing. They had the interstitial, and it was literally fighting off coworkers. And these were the same coworkers who eventually got me fired.
Now, what about that day that I was on Frank Craven's show on Friday?
Yeah.
I don't have a mailing list. Nico Haupt has always faulted me for not doing any blitzes when things are coming about.
Yeah.
So I didn't send anything out, and lo and behold, on a Friday night, unexpected, you called in. You must watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, I do watch a lot of TV, and I watch a lot of public access. And my mind is like a sponge when it comes to public access. So I will absorb things. Like I'll absorb everything you're saying. I'll absorb things, and it just becomes like a part of my psyche.
Were you like a sort of a precocious genius type kid? Were you educated here in New York?
I went to, like 12 years of medieval Catholic school.
Oh, I love that part you said about the crucifixion.
Yeah, the crucifix. I had a crucifixion obsession as a child. I used to crucify G.I. Joe. Big Jim, and some Planet of the Apes characters would get and everything. And I would reenact like the crucifixion, and I was a really screwed up kid. The Catholic, I'm sure Ugly George would have, me and him would have a lot to talk about. I was an altar boy as well.
Oh, just hang on. Just drop. Sometimes the
the
screen drops.
It's like a satellite. Is it like satellite? And then
this is something called Red 5. And Red 5 was put together by an online community, and this was given to me as a gift, so I'm always so grateful, just to have it. But let's go back to you. This is so interesting because a lot of people really misunderstand your energy. They find you absolutely frightening. But yet, what I find kind of exciting is that when I was talking about the resurrection and the equinox, and that was one of my first shows on MNN in September 2005.
Yeah.
Most of the New Agers, it just goes in one ear and out the other. It's not really registering. And I thought, I don't want to use the word twisted, but...
You could use any word. Be uncensored. Really, just say it.
But I don't even know exactly what it is. It's just that I thought, wow, this guy's paying attention. And I think attention...
Yeah, because I've been there. I went to the tomb.
Put it on you.
I went to the... Yeah, I went to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre
in
Jerusalem.
Italy?
No, I went to Christ, the crucifixion site.
Oh, but we don't. Oh, but just a second. Some people say he wasn't even crucified, so there's that theory too.
Yeah.
But the Shroud of Turin, for example, now there's a relic.
Yeah, that could be ancient photography for all we know.
Have you looked into that?
Yeah, I have, and they can't find the brush strokes. I think they can't even find any burn marks. It was burned in a fire, but the image itself, if it was a burned image, like using the sunlight with a magnifying glass.
Is that what some theories are?
Yeah, they call it the camera obscura. Was the ancient version of the camera, where they would burn an image onto a piece of cloth.
Well, put it on you because you're the star today.
Yeah, they would put it on.
This, by the way, is 911Shaman for anybody who's tuning in late, and he's also MNN dropped the ball on 9/11.
I didn't drop the ball though. I didn't drop the ball. They dropped the ball, but I kept the channels on. I kept those channels on and suffered the consequences.
What happened to you?
They harassed me.
They fired you?
Yeah, they harassed me out of the job.
Oh, really? You didn't know Sidney Dean, did you? You weren't around that long.
But I met, I was under the Tony Little administration.
Oh, yeah.
Who was very nice to me, by the way, and we got along famously.
I would think anybody'd be nice to you if they're really creative. I think people become insecure if they're not sure about their own message.
Well, you said something about how people take me as being frightening or something.
Well, some of your comments, like say that little thing about G.I. Joe, crucifying G.I. Joe. I used to make my little brother be baby Jesus, and I put the tablecloth over my head and pray for him, and if he got up from the crib, I'd smash him down again.
What kind? Did you go to a private school or a Catholic school?
I didn't go to a Catholic school because I was baptized against my father's wishes. And so once he found out, he put his foot down. And so during the summers, my grandmother, who was worried about me, would take me to church. But since I wasn't confirmed, I just had to sit there, in the pews while everybody was getting to eat God. I couldn't get to eat God.
Yeah, I still had a problem with that. I still haven't figured out God. I'm still waiting for God.
Well, what do you think about the people who post on the 9/11 sites, particularly the what happened during 9/11? Like I know I've watched your humor, and you seem to have a way that you can go into the topic deeply and show that you're thoughtful, and yet still maintain sanity. Because a lot of people who have located mischief. Obviously the whole thing has to be mischief. It wasn't an act of Congress that brought it down, so anything is going to be a conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah.
But some people, I think, become so horrified and so profoundly discouraged and so despondent that as a result it's like they can't create anything else. And so even you making those semi-horrible pieces, like even Web Fairy said, he doesn't have my heart right because my hair's shorter on one side, so I'm sure you didn't want to ruin a good mask.
Yeah.
But at least you could see she had humor about it.
Well, yeah, I think that, like I was saying before about, like, you kind of influenced me a lot. Like, I was that person. I was that person that could not create after 9/11.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to run every day, like 5 miles a day. After 9/11, I began having, I just couldn't run anymore. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I had some kind of I thought I had like the 9/11 lung sort of thing.
Really?
I still feel that. I feel that I lost a lot in terms of energy. And when I found YouTube, I was, like I said, I was just doing copyright stuff and cartoons and things I had nothing to do with. And I was jealous, really, of the public access producers.
Oh, really?
Because I missed
they
out.
were producing?
Because I was one of them. I was more than just one of them. I was sort of like
Well, that's incredible, because sometimes I feel with staff, and please, any staff that's watching, I so appreciate the support you get, but I often felt that there'd be more empathy with us and the staff if they were producing more and they understood some of the pressure and the crankiness that we go through.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to me. I was
So
a
you
mean...
were a producer.
Yeah, and when I was on YouTube, I was a mean person. I was a kind of nasty little son of a bitch, and I would troll around and lurk, and I forgot myself. And then when I discovered you, I wasn't sure if you were for real or not. I wasn't sure what
I
no-planers...
appreciate you saying that, and I still have a message on my answering machine, although the battery may have worn down, where you expressed it very well.
And I didn't know if you were, I wasn't, and I was also shocked about making fun of 9/11. And I was shocked at Nico, and I was shocked, and I was outraged. But
you surpassed Nico with those 9/11 jumpers. Oh my God! I mean, even Nico says that St. Mark's is a very dark place. So when we did the Dan Wallace thing, which came from a healing video at the end of one of my typical New Age shows, I think it was with Frank Craven and one of his many girlfriends. At the very end,
I like Frank Craven. I know his grandfather was a famous actor,
and his father too.
Yeah,
Frank Craven's an honorary member of the Players Club. No, I adore Frank, but he's very locked on 9/11 and the investigation. So at the end of a show where we were talking about healing, where one of his present girlfriends, or one who had come over from London, her father was the editor of the London Times, a very important newspaper, and her father was murdered.
That's horrible.
And she was talking about forgiveness and actually going to prison and meeting the man. So at the end of this, when we wrapped the tapes up, Alan was doing the switching in my apartment.
Yeah.
And because I was in front of the camera.
I know Alan. I've run into. I know them all.
You know them all?
Oh, I know Richard Speciale is a very good friend of mine.
Oh, well,
He's been to. They used to all live in my house.
But let me just quick finish this up. So we ended the show, and then Rosalie was staying with me those weeks, and she goes, I don't know if we were talking about investigating truth or whatever, and she goes, I want to investigate the death of Dan Wallace. And then Alan goes, who's Dan Wallace? And that's when I realized, for all the work I'd been doing, somebody, even if he's not agreeing with me on any of the theories, he should at least know about the death of a 23-year-old. And I could watch him shift.
He's young.
I could watch Alan shift, and that's why I got interested in that. So then everybody said, oh, you're horrible, and you're torturing the girlfriend, and there was a lot of misunderstanding. And then when you posted
the Dan video,
your stuff, I thought, wow, some people could say this is in bad taste, but as far as the information, you really relayed the way drugs were gotten. It was supposed to be Vicodin, according to Ryan.
Yeah.
And you got the story out there, and I thought, God bless you for that.
Thank you. I mean, I have to say, you're saying things that I relate to because I identify with you. I know what it's like being hounded, ridiculed, sort of, being different, having your peers suddenly look at you a certain way. And that happened to me at M&N. I used to hang around, I used to gather all the all the people from the hospital across the street from M&N, and I would do shows with them on the street at 5:15, which I have tons of footage. And I've done shows from Bellevue Hospital. I used to hang around.
Crazy people?
I guess you can call it. Well, they were comedians. They were comedians on M&N who fell on hard times.
And had to go to Bellevue?
And they ended up on the streets homeless.
Wow,
and
so you really covered this.
Well, when I worked at M&N, I did it all. I did the street theater. You see, all the outcasts were outside the building of M&N. and I would get them together and do shows. Like, it was like Cuckoo's Nest type.
Well, you must have had a great following.
I didn't, because it was very
You weren't
very
regular?
guerrilla.
You were doing specials? They couldn't track
No,
you?
no,
They
I had a
couldn't follow you?
I had a time slot called Super 8 Monsters, and it sort of was born out of that, where I started recording everything that was going on at MNN. So a lot of the footage I have of MNN is behind the scenes, what it's like being in the master control room, dealing in the insider point of view. And MNN didn't want that. They didn't want to deal with that stuff.
Well, what do you think about my insistence on capital ownership? Because it seems to me that with M&N, you know, like Harold is so happy all the time because it's free, it's free. But I say, is it really free if the average New Yorker is paying $100 to get cable? And some of them
Exactly.
want the public access. And if you go around, I'll hand this around, in some of these hotels here, if we're up here at
I know,
Central
the
Park,
Trump Tower.
they don't get M&M. They don't know what's going on a local level.
They don't have
here.
Time Warner, a lot of them either.
Yeah, so I think that it's very important to start looking into capital ownership because of the money talks kind of thing.
Yeah, you know how many people actually can access MNN without, they just needed an antenna, and they can access the channels. And,
You mean steal it from Time Warner? I don't know if you call it steal because it kind of belongs to the people.
well,
in
I
the
don't
first
pay for
place.
cable, but I have just a regular antenna cable. I don't have the
Oh,
box.
it comes off the antenna?
Yeah, because
I didn't know that. It comes off the antenna.
Yeah,
That's the good old days.
If you have a building that has a cable, you get automatic cable antenna without the box.
Oh, so I can just put up an antenna and get M&M?
Yeah.
didn't even know
The
that.
antenna cable. You know, the regular, like when you disconnect your box and you just put the line
Yeah,
directly.
yeah.
That's sort of, they call that antenna.
Oh, I see.
Not
So
the
I
bunny
should try
ears.
that.
Yeah, but because I don't want to pay. I already pay for internet, but I'm really not interested in television per se. And as long as I get to watch public access, CUNY,
You're the star
I can
thing.
watch public access and CUNY TV. I like PBS, public domain horror films. That's good for me.
Boy, you're good on the domain horror or the horror films. What does that mean, public domain? It means you're allowed.
Yeah, the
to,
copyrights have lapsed, and old Bela Lugosi films and stuff like that. So that's really a
Talk
reflection.
about the Bela Lugosi one with Web Fairy. I felt with Tesla. What do you know about Tesla? 'Cause that's a big interest
Well,
of
Tesla
mine.
is he's like a cult figure for one thing. He's been the influence of the mad scientist.
Oh, just a second. I want to pause for if any of you want to say anything to 911Shaman. I know he's been a very controversial character on my YouTube site, and he also had the distinction of being the creator of the nastiest comment of the day. It was somebody said it made David
Mamet, yeah.
Mamet blush. But what it had the effect of doing, which wasn't really my intention, was it sort of had people keep a distance from nasty comments. And it was actually beneficial. So if you have anything to say to us, we are at, we're coming to you from, email me at rabbitholecentral@earthlink.net, and you can ask a question directly here to 911Shaman. He's also, MNN dropped the ball on 9/11, and also Super 8 Monsters.
Yes.
And I know he's driven a lot of researchers kind of crazy. But, you know, here's your chance. Internet is very odd today, somebody's saying. This is my guy in Wisconsin.
Yeah, the nastiest comment of the day was exactly that, but it was also to get your attention.
Yeah.
I did it because I saw that everybody was sort of fighting, and there was a lot in it, and I was going at it with Damo Uno, who I became friends with, sort of like friendly.
Damo Uno's
yeah,
funny
and
guy.
he was telling me, you know, he was gonna shoot me and kill me and beat me, and I was getting very jealous because you were like, oh, he's having a meltdown, Damo, and I was like, no, I want her to understand me. So
so you did have a need for a connection, for empathy. That's always what I'm saying.
Jealous of I was trying desperately to break through.
You did.
And I know it was a horrible thing, and I regret saying that because it was a mean thing to do.
But you know what? Actually,
it's not true, though.
Victor's supposed to be here, and in some ways, he really is going through hell in housing court. So even though it was nasty, it had some knowledge in it.
Yeah, well, my mother,
It's important.
before she died, my mother sued the Board of Education in 2003, and she won.
Wow.
And it was, she was discriminated against by the.
For being what? A woman?
Oh, they kept failing her on an exam. She kept
Really?
taking over. And
That's
she has a
amazing.
master's degree and stuff. And
Is she where you get your big interest in theater and radio?
I used to be.
And you have such a good ear.
Yeah, and I used to be a school teacher down in
really?
Ground Zero,
Really?
PS 234. I used to work in special education in my 20s when I was a normal human being.
And then 9/11 changed all of that?
Yeah, then the 90s kind of fizzled out, and then I went to M&N to start new because I hate kids. They're so annoying, and it's so political. And their parents, they say something, and they think you're crazy or something. But I left on good terms. I went on a sabbatical. I went to Mexico. I went to study the pyramids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're a well-traveled guy.
Yeah.
Let me just, can I read something
Sure.
from somebody? It seems I was able to find my way onto YouTube in a roundabout way. Maybe it's under repair or revamping again. Just now, the player does not seem to work, although most of the other aspects seem to be working. I have no idea what that one message on the tab was about. Who knows, maybe... Oh, I thought sometimes he watches the stream. Oh, see you at 12 p.m. Okay, sorry.
Is this
so
on?
if you have anything to say, Spencer, that's my viewer on YouTube. He's in Wisconsin. So this was a way of bringing what was happening here in New York out to the world.
Yeah.
But I'm finding as it's going out to the world, it seems as though the very ground upon which we're standing here at M&N, here, and I'll take you a little zoom around. That's Time Warner over there. And yeah, that's one. And Time Warner is going to renegotiate their 10-year contract with the city this fall, and there's talk that it's going to be under Google or YouTube. And because my most important videos have been taken down, I'm really, really alarmed about this.
Why would they take down something that you actually created? And there was nothing wrong with I saw absolutely nothing wrong with what you were doing.
Well, that was with the Dan Wallace when Webb Ferry was holding the sign, investigate the death of Dan Wallace or the murder.
Where it all
Death.
begins.
No, we said death. We didn't say murder. But it was just something, like I say, that is how I got into it. It was Alan Steinfeld. The penny was dropping. He said, "Who is Dan Wallace?" And I thought perhaps by following that energy, we could start to do what so many of the researchers haven't been able to do. That they
you got me hooked into that.
no planers, and
Well, that's how you got me hooked into it. I wanted to do the same. I'm like, who's Dan Wallace? And like I said, there would be no 911Shaman if there was no Paula Gloria. So she is the goddess.
oh my gosh,
She's the creator.
Thank you.
She is the
You were
creator.
already M&N dropped the ball on 9/11, and I
Yes.
think that you.
I'm the problem. I'm what Nico is. I am to M&N what Nico was to Alex Jones. I mean, I was kicked out.
really?
I was kicked out of their building.
Oh, really?
Not for being mean or violent, or I didn't lose.
Yes. I see what you're saying. Lauren Cucurullo said that Alex Jones should be having Nico Haupt on every single day of his show, or very often, if he's really doing the research that he says he's doing. So it seems you're saying the same thing. You're critical of M&N. M&N launched
They were-
and yet you felt that you wanted to go farther, and they weren't really
boy.
walking their talk.
I can tell you emphatically, and I have proof, and the smart people at M&N told me this, but they were producing porn in their facilities, shooting them in the closed studio for free. They were getting all the production values down at M&N, and this was a board. This is one of the board of directors. I won't mention his name, but you were one of my targets.
Well, now we get into the whole pornography thing. That's a really hot
M&N
issue.
is a very
because-
corrupt organization. Well, not anymore. Not as much as it used to be. It's gotten a little better.
You know, Ugly George, I don't know if you saw Boob Tube.
I love Ugly George, yes, and I've seen Boob Tube.
You know, he was so innocent, and he never liked his work to be called pornography.
Oh, the sun went away. I think we can take.
Yeah, we can pick up. And Ugly George didn't like his work to be called pornography, and when you actually look at it, you'll see that when the women take their tops off because he convinces them to do it, it's sort of a goof and a lark.
Right.
And you see the emulation when this sort of model gets on corporate media, where you watch the glitz and the women are just boom, ready on cue to take their top off, and it's such a different thing. And so he never went into the closed studio like that. He never had. You're suggesting that
they did this off hours.
That it was off hours,
yes.
And it was using those facilities for free and then making money at it, right?
Yes.
I think it's the money factor.
I'll name the company. I can name the company. They were called 911Shaman Productions.
So I guess that's a big embarrassment. So I guess somebody's trying to pocket some money on the side, but that's not as big as the overall picture. The overall picture that I'm concerned about is that M&N goes under the Time Warner, or Time Warner itself goes under Google, which has bought off YouTube and is taking down some of the most instructive videos that I've put up. Out of my 600, the one that most breaks my heart,
how many is that?
Had 3,800 hits in 5 days. It had 815 very important comments, people that were pro and con with what we were doing, but even if they were against it, it was helping to do that autodidactic. Harold Channer talks about that self-teaching.
Yeah.
And that's my concern.
How many videos did they actually take down?
Oh,
about 10?
No, not even 10, but at least 3 I can think of. One where I took Nico Haupt's explanation and I broke it down into what he was saying. I actually spelt it out. And even Nico appreciated that, because a lot of times people aren't understanding what he's saying. Like they're not understanding your humor.
Yeah, well, it is sort of offensive. But
the whole issue is offensive. The whole issue is offensive.
Yeah.
When you say he dressed up as one of the jumpers and talks about surviving the fall, which is in bad taste, but what's in worse taste is that people don't really. The horror is so much that they can't really connect with the implication of jumpers. What was that all about? I mean, that's mysterious. You know that.
Yeah.
They're saying microwaves were beamed to them to make them jump because Bullhorn downstairs were saying go back into the building. It's clear, it's safe. The fire's almost out.
It was a tragedy of not a comedy of errors, but I mean it was a tragedy of errors.
Right.
It's just one error after another, and the whole concept behind the 9/11 jumper thing was really picking on the Alex Jones crowd.
Oh, really?
They tend to. There's something bothers me when Alex Jones says that the Jews did 9/11. I don't know why it bothers me, but it bothers me. It offends me.
You're not Jewish, are you?
No, but I've been there.
Neither am I, and I get offended.
I've been to Israel. I've been to Jerusalem. God, I've been attacked.
Oh, you've been to Jerusalem?
I went in like 90, right as the Gulf War was picking up. And I mean, I know what it's like to be in a bus and have it like hit with rocks, or to see buses blowing up behind you. And my girlfriend at the time, she was in the Israeli army, so I had a firsthand. I was with her for a month. I mean, it wasn't like I was living with her in a barrack somewhere. But I got you get your little education.
I know.
And there's a lot of racism between the races and between the religions, and it's a fact. I mean, I had racism pretty much put up against me for being American, or Italian, or even religiously.
Where?
My father was Sicilian.
But where were you raised? I mean,
I was raised in America.
But you mean just Americans were against you for being
No,
Sicilian?
I'm saying in Israel, a lot of the Jews.
Oh, in Israel. I found in Israel they loved Italians. That's what my experience was.
Yeah.
Maybe just the Jews.
Well, I was hanging around the army brats. I was hanging around the army brats. It's a little. They're busy gutting, using bayonets and learning how to kill. And
is that really true what you said about 1973 here at Columbus Circle?
Yes.
Tell people that story.
Yes, this is where Joe Columbo was gunned down here in Columbus Square. He was gunned down across the street there for a peace rally. It was supposed to be an Italian-American peace rally.
Really?
Yeah, and as a Mafia don, he was trying to give himself a nice image, a cleaned-up image of being more like a community leader than a gangster.
Really?
And a guy named, I forget his name, Willie something, a black man showed up, shot him in the head, and then within a few minutes, the actual killer, the actual assassin was gunned down. So it was sort of like a mini JFK assassination
Wow.
type thing.
73.
73, yeah. But New York is filled
Was there
with,
any prejudice? Well, you must have been really young then.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't remember it. I read about this later.
Because you read about all this. Maybe we should put this up
I think
again.
it was the Playboy book of illustrated. Is it illustrated?
Any comments for 911Shaman, or else MNN dropped the ball on 9/11?
Any of you MNN people out there?
Email me at rabbitholecentral@earthlink.net, and I can feel those comments. I'm just so happy that today somebody from YouTube showed up in the flesh. That's so important.
Thank you.
How much time do you spend on this?
On YouTube?